whatever is playing. It does not matter what film is on at the Hyland as a Saturday matinee. This is not because the film is insignificant to me. No, quite the opposite, in fact. It is because every film is significant to me. I need to see them all. I don't go to the movies with people anymore. When I was younger, my older sister would take us, me and my little sister here. Back then, it was still called the Elmwood. My sisters would talk all the way through the movie. Pretty much as soon as I did not need supervision, I began this ritual. I save up a bit during the week, and on Saturdays, I cross Warncliffe and go to the film. It is funny. I know they are the same place, but I think of the Elmwood as a place of childhood, full of distraction. My sisters talking over the movie, saying which actor that was, and what they'd seen him in before, and how they didn't like Ben-Hur as much as Tarzan. Now I think of the Hyland as a place of adulthood, where I can come and be alone, where I can actually watch the film, and where only my thoughts and a 35mm story keep me company, and where that company is more than enough. Going to the movies alone is not sad. Sitting at the movies alone is not sad. I have had to assure my friends and people I know of this when they see me here. I'm not sure why people assume I am lonely when I am alone. Well, I do know why. When it comes to movie going, people forgot about the movie a long time ago. Maybe they never thought of the movie in the first place, just the going out part. But I do. It is only celluloid and light, but part of me does feel lonely for that movie being projected there when the whole theater is just talking or snogging or eating junior mints and popcorn. A film being ignored is lonely. A person alone with a film, now that's company. Distraction is very lonely. As I become a teenager, there's so many thoughts in my head. They pile up day after day. Then one day, it just gets so bad that I just have to get out of the house. So I take the money I have, I come down here, it does not matter what was on, I just need distraction. I do not find distraction, I find something much better. I find my head, which had been a mess of disorganized drawers full of odds and ends, now being sorted out by the story I am watching. In the light of the projector, I see myself refracted and then reflected, and things start to make sense. This is what art can do. Wow. These are the epiphanies of adolescence that make all the angst worthwhile. It leads to such joy. The ecstasy of using a thesaurus for the first time, the power that comes with understanding color theory, the buzz of recognizing archetype. In this moment, watching this movie alone, for the first time, I meet art face first. I feel invited to tell my story, to create. I find my trajectory. In the years to come, shopping malls will devour downtowns. Multiplexes will be the cool new kid on the block, distracting from the seasoned single-screen theater. Then one day, as I'm reading the paper after the seminar with my graduate students, I will find the movie listings no longer show the Hyland. Odeon, now Cineplex Odeon, has sold the Hyland, and they are now enticing us to head down to their new state-of-the-art multiplex in Galleria Mall. I will sit there for a while, the absence of a movie listing captivating my mind more than any news story present in the paper that day. But life, I will find, is made out of many more intermissions and interludes than definite endings. It will be a while till I walk through the doors of the Hyland Cinema once more, now miraculously resurrected. When I do come through those doors, as is the case when most second acts begin, it will feel as though hardly any time has passed since I walked in so many years ago to see whatever was playing, because back then, every film was significant to me.
Hello, I'm Victor Lorenis, proud projectionist of the Hyland Cinema. I've been a projectionist for about 30 years. I kind of came in on the tail end of where you needed a license and you needed to be in the union and you had to train and apprentice. And now I'm the last, and this is the last, cinema in London, Ontario. Actual movie palace that survived decades and decades. So we used to be 35 millimeter film, and that was my happiest time as a projectionist, actually running film all the time. So I would say 9 years ago, the whole world went digital overnight, and now we have both 35 millimeter film and digital, but most of the time it's digital projection, like most of the world. The point of having a good projectionist at a single screen cinema like this is that we have a very diversified bit of programming, both via digital and with film, using 35 millimeter film, 16 millimeter film, hopefully in the future 70 millimeter film. And we're also doing outdoor drive-ins on the backside of our stage, which is facing the parking lot. So there's quite a bit to do as a projectionist, and most theaters don't actually have a dedicated projectionist, and it makes these things less professional. You certainly wouldn't be running film unless you hired an outside projectionist to come in, which is very difficult. So this theater is very unique in that we didn't really have to keep film. We could have just went all digital, and we've kept both, and we feel it's really important to have that and keep both formats alive. We're not part of that. It has to be digital or film. It should be both. They can live side by side peacefully. We've proven that. I've gone bankrupt in the last few years buying film prints from all over the world. I'm a film collector, which kind of ties into, I try to buy films that will work here at the Hyland with our retro series, or just showing classics in general and showing them the way they were originally projected. So that's a lot of fun and a lot of pressure as well, because you never know what's going to work or not work. I find that these days in the 2000s, it's really become very interesting to watch young people want to watch films on film, whereas in the 90s you couldn't give it away. Like everyone was just so jaded with home video and the internet slowly coming on. But it's definitely film. I don't like to say like vinyl, but it's similar. There's a similarity there. As far as the quality of either, going back and forth, digital is pixel perfect almost always, whether you're 2K or 4K. Actually, 2K has better contrast unless you're talking laser projection. Film, if you have a good print and you have the better lenses and you have everything aligned perfectly, can totally blow digital out of the water. And I don't mean just for sharpness. It can be just as sharp. It can also be a little softer. People like to say it's softer. It's not. That's not an actual truth. It's often true, but it isn't an absolute truth. The other thing is that you've got this pulse with film projection because of the way the technology works with 24 frames per second and a shutter. And so there's more life to it. I think there's even studies that the brain becomes happier watching film projected. In fact, they're probably going to try to introduce shutters into digital projection in the future. I wouldn't be surprised. A great thing about a single screen cinema that's been around since the beginning, for decades. This is the last one in London, Ontario, and it has a history. So all the multiplexes, they don't have hardly any history at all. And they're just rooms with a screen. There's no curtains, there's no showmanship, whereas this place has all of that stuff, and it has a history. It has if it was a person or a soul, it has a memory, and you just can't get that. You can feel the ghosts of decades past in here, especially when we show an old classic that's played here, 30 years ago. And so that's what I find really unique about single screen cinemas. In fact, the curtains, this theater had curtains before when it was the Hyland, and it was closed for 16 years. It was used for many things, but the curtains were removed, And when the Capitol Theater downtown closed, I managed to save the curtains and bring them here. And that's what's up here now. They were actually twice the size of this, so we cut them in half, so we have 2 sets. So London is really lucky to have a cinema such as the Hyland, and we have great staff. The owners really care. Everyone really cares about what we do here, and I'm proud to be here as well.